Right. Are we ready?
So as you can see, it's another lovely day in Skye. The rain is coming down.
Bye.
So we were up and ready in good time to make a nice early start, and we had the bike all dried down. We've got some other friends staying with us as well, and they dried the bike down for us. We're ready to get on, and I couldn't find my gloves. We looked everywhere for them. We turned everything upside down. We emptied all the bags. We emptied the bike. We looked in the dirty laundry bag. We looked everywhere and we couldn't find them, and then I just happened to pick up Johnny's helmet, and there they were. So anyway, we found my gloves, dried the bike again.
Potholes there.
Finally, we were on our way, a little bit later than planned, but we're off on the road again.
Oh, bloody hell. That was a faff and a half, wasn't it?
Remember those potholes from a few days ago?
Big holes.
Well, we've got to go through them again, only it's worse this time because they're all underwater. So I've got to carefully pick my way through.
Jeepers.
And I can't even see where they are.
Okay.
But we just about made it, I think.
I wonder how much water is on the camera lens. Go on, give it a wipe. Delorean! Did you see it? Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so we've had a lovely few days on the island. We started with a delicious meal at the Thai Allen Hotel, just around the corner from where we were staying.
And I had monkfish for the very first time.
Did you like that?
I liked it a lot.
He likes monkfish.
The next day we went off to explore the island, taking the coastal road up the east side of Skye through Portree and all the way around to the top where we went to the Skye Museum of Island Life. They've got some agricultural things here. I don't know what they are. They're just sort of painted agricultural things. They've got some fluffy Highland cows.
They're cute.
They were cute. They don't really do a lot, do they? And some very low cottages, sort of. I mean, low to the ground. The roofs are low to the ground.
Keep them out of the wind.
They keep them out of the wind, yeah, because it gets really windy up there. And the interesting thing about these cottages is that the thatched roofs are held down with rocks to stop them blowing away in the wind, I guess. So anyway, we spent a little bit of time there, had a hot chocolate, and then headed off again.
So we wound our way back down the coastal road and stopping at the dinosaur beach of Cairngorms. So you can actually see real dinosaur footprints at the beach here. They were formed 166 million years ago by a group of meat-eating dinosaurs called Megalosaurus. They walked through the mud in the waters there, and then the mud came and filled in the footprints and preserved them and fossilised them. I think this is pretty amazing actually, because there weren't dinosaurs in Scotland when they were on this land. This land was actually south of the equator. They were discovered by some dog walkers, no less, on the beach in 2001, and you can actually go down onto the beach and you have to hunt around a bit, but there's 17 footprints to go and look, and we had a little rummage around and we found them, and I think they were pretty awesome actually. They were huge and they were definitely dinosaur footprints. So we carried on down to Portree, stopped for a fish and chip lunch in the harbour. Portree is the main town on Skye, so a good place to get supplies if you need some. And we stopped to pick up food for dinner tonight back at the cottage. So the second day of our holiday on Skye, my friend and I headed out on our own to walk the dog. Steve. Okay. We're all a bit fuzzy. Okay, I'm here with Jane. Say hi.
Hi.
That's my friend Jane. We've been staying with her for a few days in the cottage on Skye, and we just escaped for a few hours. We left Jonathan and your mum at home, and we've been to the fairy ponds, fairy pools, and we're a bit wet. It's actually drizzling a little bit. It's not actually chucking it down, but we've had a really lovely walk. We're at what's it called?
Glenbrittle.
Glenbrittle. That's it. That's where we are. And it was not so much ponds or pools as a beautiful flowing river and waterfall, really stunning waterfalls coming right through the mountains, and you just walk up the side of the river. If you're thinking of visiting, what do you need to know if you're thinking of visiting?
Good footwear.
Yeah, have a good pair of boots. It's quite...
Waterproofs, just in case.
Yeah, well, we've had everything, haven't we? It was like the sun we got in,
Yeah.
then the sun came out and we took layers off, and then the sun went in and we were cold, and then we were hot. It's quite a steep climb down, which you have to come back up.
So don't go further than you want to.
Yeah, do think about that.
You've got a reverse journey.
Yeah, you've got to come back the way you came. There's some streams to step over as well. So if you're short, you have to jump. They are stepping stones, but they're quite wide apart. So, but they are building footbridges around them because I think there's so many people up there. Oh yeah, and get here early. Yeah. It is quite busy up there. Just as we were coming back, it's quite busy. But if you come in a camper van, there's camper van parking. If you're coming on a bike, we're in a car. Obviously, we left the bike at the cottage. But if you're coming on a bike, I don't know where you park, but there's people parking you, and it's actually quite organised. But it is gravelly underfoot, so just watch when you put your foot down. Nice walk, toilets and refreshments. Brilliant. Definitely worth a visit.
And an eagle
really
if you're lucky.
And a what?
Eagle if you're lucky.
Well, that wasn't today, but
No,
yeah. And don't fall over in the mud.
like I did.
Right, should we go back and get a hot drink?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go. So we've left our friends behind at the cottage, and we are back on our two wheels to continue our tour of Scotland, our first proper tour on our Goldwing. So we've had a really nice couple of days on Skye. It's well worth a visit if you're up this way. You can get to it via bridge, so if you just want to come on for the day and have a ride around, it's very easy. Or if you're feeling a bit more adventurous, there are a couple of ferries that you can catch too. The roads are a bit variable. They're really good one minute and a bit rubbish the next, so if you are on two wheels, just keep your wits about you and check out for those potholes. So the plan for the next 2 days was to head for an overnight stop just south of Edinburgh. So we thought we would go a pretty route, so we were going to head from Skye up the side of Loch Ness. We were going to stop in Inverness for some fuel and then head down to our overnight stop in Edinburgh through the Cairngorms. And that just left a final day's trip back over the border into England and heading home.
I'm really struggling with the weather at this point in the journey. There's just the wrong amount of humidity and moisture to cause fogging on just about every surface. And it was so damp, even the pin lock was fogging up and getting water droplets on it. I tried all I could to clear the foggings, had my visor open and shut, air vents open, air vents shut, but nothing seemed to alleviate it. I've only recently been required to wear glasses when I'm driving and riding, and this was the first time I've ridden in these conditions wearing glasses. Previously, under these conditions, I'd have been quite content just to open my visor and ride through with a wet face. However, this time my glasses were getting rained on, and I really needed wipers for them, and they were fogging up on the inside and outside, and even at times it felt like my eyeballs were getting fogged up. One thing I noticed on the Goldwing is that because of the huge windscreen, there's never any airflow over the helmet to push all the water away. I'm used to just riding in wet weather and having the airflow clean my visor for me. All in all, a really unpleasant experience this was, and I needed to take stock of things and calm myself down a bit, so I was getting quite irate and just cross with the weather conditions, and at times I was struggling to see the road ahead, and I was getting really frazzled by this stage.
So we made the decision to pull over and just regroup a little bit and dry everything off. So we were passing Eileen Donan Castle, which we stopped at on the way up, and we took this opportunity. Jonathan checked the sat-nav to see if he could find a different route, and I checked the weather radar to see where the weather was going, and as it turned out, it was a very localised weather system, and we were actually going to ride out of it whichever direction we decided to go. So by the time we'd done that and dried off a little bit, it actually cleared quite a bit overhead, so we decided just to stick to our original route and head to Loch Ness after all.
With the weather a bit brighter, we thought we were well on our way to Loch Ness, but we weren't. After a couple of miles I thought I'd turn on my heated seat, so I reached down, turned the dial, and instantly the bike died. It lost all power and just started rolling to a halt. I glanced down and noticed that the ignition had been turned off. And then it dawned on me that the ignition key fob had been sitting over the heated seat dial, and when I turned the dial I'd moved the key fob, which had turned the key and turned the ignition off. So I turned the ignition key back on and the bike just started running again. So everything was fine. And then I realised as the ignition had turned off, it had cancelled the sat-nav route. So I pulled over and reset the sat-nav. However, I had inadvertently set an incorrect route, and I think I'd set a route for home instead of the route to our next destination.
Yeah, turn right here.
And this route was going to take us on quite a detour. And as an indication of just how frazzled I was that day, look at the appalling turn I made here.
I misjudged that one, didn't I?
After a few miles I realised we were heading the wrong way and I was actually heading home, so we pulled over to check the route. And we decided that it would be easier to carry on the long way round rather than backtrack the way we'd come, as this route would bring us out at the very bottom edge of Loch Lomond, and we could ride up the entire length of it rather than just 3/4 of it as the previous route would have had us do.
So that is Loch Ness.
So finally we made it to the shores of Loch Ness, but due to lost gloves, bad weather and going the wrong way, we didn't really have time to stop anywhere, which was a real shame because there's lots to do in this area. We did need some lunch however, so we pulled in at the Loch Ness Clansman for a bite to eat.
Thank you. That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
I don't know this gentleman's name, but he was super nice and he got us parked up right by the front door, and he even offered to look after our helmets for us while we went and ate. So we had a lovely lunch overlooking the loch. This place is really nice. It's got accommodation if you want to stay and a really great gift shop to get a few prezzies, and you can also take a boat from here to go Nessie hunting out on the water. The only Nessie we saw, however, was this one in the car park.
Right. Oh. Whew. Right, we know what we're doing now, don't we? We're all refuelled and happy and had lots of sandwiches and coffee, and I feel good.
We're heading into Inverness now, which is going to be our furthest point north on this trip before we head south towards Edinburgh.
Is it where that Volvo's just gone? Yep.
Contrary to what I just said, I don't know what I'm doing, and I've just ridden into B&Q instead of into the Esso.
Oh
well, I'll just turn around and try again.
Oh, slippery.
So we did consider carrying on to the next fuel station, but from previous experience we know there aren't that many in Scotland, so we made the choice to turn around and actually go back to that one just in case. But it was a good job, wasn't it, Johnny? Because there wasn't one.
There wasn't another petrol station for a long way, and we would definitely have run out of fuel had we continued. So yeah, that's why we went back round.
Just adding to our day's woes. So yeah, if you are travelling in Scotland and you see a petrol station,
use it.
Definitely fuel up at it, because there aren't that many.
Oh, jeepers. Oh, can we relax? Blimey. It's really blowy, isn't it?
After all that, the bike is refuelled and ready for the rest of the day's journey, and we can head out of Inverness for a straight run down to our overnight stop at Dalkeith.
Right, get ready for the wind.
So our route takes us straight through the Cairngorms. So this is a mountain range that forms part of the Cairngorms National Park, along with Angus Glens and Monadlia. Balmoral Castle sits in the boundaries of the parks, and this was bought by Queen Victoria in 1853 and has remained a favourite holiday retreat for the royal family ever since. The region's also home to large wind energy projects.
That's unsurprising because there's a lot of wind in the Cairngorms. The whole journey down from Inverness down to Perth on the A9 was windy. It was incessant and it was strong.
Yeah, we took a bit of a battering, didn't we? It came from the west and just hit us side on virtually the whole way, in what should have been a really nice, easy ride on a straight road through a beautiful national park actually turned into a bit of a boxing match.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is the first time I'd ridden the Goldwing in this sort of condition, and it's clear that it's a very stable bike. It doesn't get pushed around or buffeted at all. But I'm guessing that because of the sheer size of it, it kind of acts like a sail, and it just felt like there was this constant pressure on the right hand side the entire way down, and I was having to lean into the wind and sort of press down on the right hand bar and sort of up on the left hand bar just to keep it tracking. However, the bike tracks really truly and doesn't get pushed around, but it still takes an enormous effort in strong side winds to keep it going straight.
So come with us for a ride through the Cairngorms and make sure you're holding on tight. It is a really pretty landscape through the Cairngorms. It would have been even more enjoyable if we hadn't been battling the wind, and I do feel a lot of the scenery passed us by, so maybe we can do it again another day when there isn't any wind.
On a calmer day, yeah. So with this day drawing to a close, it's probably a good opportunity to reflect on it and try to make sense of it. It was a tough day, I think. It started bad and never really got any better, did it?
No, and just one little silly thing like not being able to find a piece of clothing meant we started late, and that just pushed everything else.
And started in the wrong frame of mind.
Yeah.
And then the weather compounded that state of mind, and it led to silly navigational mistakes, silly riding errors, and it just wasn't a great day, was it?
I don't know how we could have foreseen some of it though. I mean, knocking the bike ignition off and then it cancelling the sat nav, it's just one of those really weird things that you wouldn't even imagine, and I don't know how we could have prevented it really, but yeah, it was as if the biking gods were not with us.
Everything conspired against us, didn't it?
Yeah, it was one thing after another, and it all accumulated, didn't it? And yeah, we were so glad to get to the hotel, weren't we?
Yeah, very happy to get to the hotel. But the bike was not at fault. That's the good thing to take from it. The bike was extremely comfortable. It just performed flawlessly. It was extremely comfortable the whole way. It was an enjoyable ride.
Yeah.
It was just
our mistakes.
The circumstances,
wasn't it?
The circumstances weren't good. But the Goldwing has shown us too what a great bike it is for touring. It was a very long day riding, so long in fact that the camera battery expired before we reached our destination, so we don't have any footage of us getting to the Premier Inn, wasn't it?
Yeah, that probably wasn't a bad thing because we were a little bit grumpy by that point.
And we made a couple more navigational errors once we'd gone over the Firth of Forth.
Yeah, we went wrong again twice, didn't we? And the sun was starting to set, and it was just like, okay, really now all the pretty scenery was behind us and sun's going down. It was really now we just want to get to the accommodation. We just want to get the bike gear off, have a couple of beers and a nice meal and a good night's rest.
And have a better day's riding tomorrow.
Yeah, and look forward to the next day's riding.
It's a brand new day. We're both feeling much refreshed. We're in a good frame of mind again, feeling positive. The weather's still a bit drizzly.
Just a little bit, but all these things are about learning from the day before. So today we put all our gear on in the lobby of the hotel. So we were nice and dry when we went outside and got on the bike, and we weren't messing around outside and getting wet outside, and I managed to keep my gloves in check, so we weren't looking for my gloves.
Not losing those again.
Yeah, so we got on the bike nice and dry, ready for our day's riding.
First port of call was a petrol station. We needed to fill up to give us enough fuel to make it home. And the great thing about riding a Goldwing is that people come and talk to you. Now, this chap was the 5th person in our 4-day tour to come and talk to us about the bike. And of all my years of riding that Kawasaki Versys, not one person has ever spoken to me about it. No one's ever stopped me to talk about it. But this holiday, say 5 people came and spoke to us about it.
Another 6-cylinder.
All right.
Same engine as here.
Yeah. Lovely. What is it? What is it?
It's a Honda Rune, R-U-N-E.
Okay.
It was made in 2004 in US, but now you can buy everywhere.
All right. Okay.
And it was an education because I'd never heard of a Honda Rune before that. And now I know about the Honda Rune.
And what do you know about the Honda Rune?
It shares the same engine as our Goldwing. It's a big old beast like our Goldwing, but it's got very fancy looking, isn't it?
It is very fancy looking. It was really nice, wasn't it? He just came up and he just wanted to show us his bike. And the random guy stopped with some petrol, so I don't know who you are, but it was really nice that you came over and shared your experiences with us.
All right. So, first exit.
Okay, so it's about an hour's run down to the Scotland-England border. It's still drizzling a little bit, but I think we're a little bit better off today. How are you getting on with your glasses?
Glasses are fine, visors fine, everything's good today.
Eyeballs fine?
Eyeballs are fine, yep. It's a different day, and the atmospherics are different. I don't know what it is, but everything's okay today. It's an uneventful ride for an hour through the drizzle, enjoying the bike and enjoying each other's company.
We're just going to pull in here for the obligatory photo stop of the big stone that says England on it in the rain.
A little leg stretch, 5-10 minutes maybe. Got to clean my visor, get the earplug in.
Rain is still coming down, so just a few quick photographs of us at the border. So another guy pulled in behind us on this motorbike here, and he'd just done the North Coast 500, and he was also heading back down south, but he was going a lot further than we were. He was going all the way to Dover, which is a hell of a long way from the North Coast 500. It's about as far as you can go without falling in the sea. So I was full of admiration for him, and he camped as well, done a lot of wild camping, so I thought he was awesome. And then it's back on the bike and on our way again.
As we pass through the Northumberland National Park on our way home, let's reflect on our first ever Goldwing tour. What have we learned? What have we liked? What have we disliked? Sarah, you got any likes and dislikes?
Yes, of course I have. Both. All. I really enjoyed it. I've had a fabulous 4 days riding, plus a few extra days on Skye, and I was really pleased we went as far as Skye. We probably wouldn't have gone there without an invite up to stay in my friend's cottage, so I'm glad we went that far. We've learnt so much about the bike, about touring, about weather, about gear, about what we're capable of achieving as well. And even though we had that bit of a difficult day on the 3rd day, I was quite proud that we came through that intact, and it was good to know what we can tolerate. You know, it was a long day on the bike and we didn't fall out. We worked together to get through it and to solve the problems and to find the right route we kept going wrong, and I felt really proud that we'd done that actually, and I know now what we can cope with, so if we have another bad day again, I know that we'll be alright. How about you?
Yes. Well, having wanted to do bike touring for a long time, but never wanting to do it on my own, this was a really great 4 days. I'm so glad we did it. I'm so glad we decided to buy a bike and do it together, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. Even the bad times were in a strange way enjoyable. Even the bad day, number 3, any day on a bike is a good day. It's just that it wasn't as good as the other days.
The first 2 days were
The first
spectacular,
one
weren't they?
the day 2 was just astonishingly good.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, I'm so glad we decided to do it.
Yeah, me too. Really thoroughly enjoyed it.
It's very different from just jumping on a bike and going off riding for the day. It was what I wanted it to be. There's something sort of romantic about being on a bike with all your gear in the bags, clearing off into the wild blue yonder for a few days, and hopefully we'll do more than 4 days in the future somewhere.
Yeah, it's just you and what you've got on the bike, isn't it? And the elements and being up in the mountains, in the weather, then in the sunshine, and then back in the weather again and warm and cold, and you experience it in a much fuller way than you would if you were in a car.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The most I've done before is riding for a whole day, then staying overnight for a couple of nights, and then riding a whole day back again. I've not taken myself away on a bike before. And what did I find out about the bike? Well, it's a great machine. It's so easy to ride. I learned how to ride it, I think, during these 4 days. Each day that passed, I became more familiar with the bike. I learned how to control it better, how to handle it. I learned not to be scared of it.
Yeah, you were definitely much more confident on it by the time now heading home. It's really noticeable. That 4 days is just exactly what we needed, I think, for you to get rid of.
It was a steep learning curve, but it was a really enjoyable learning curve. I've never ridden a bike, such a large bike, especially sort of 2 up with all luggage and everything. Never had that experience before. And the bike surprised me at how docile it is. It's actually very forgiving of a poor rider, I think. And I gave it plenty of opportunities to forgive me. So heading home, I'm just itching to do it all over again.
Itching to get out again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I think we'll get home and dry everything off,
Okay.
won't we?
Yeah.
Dry it off, clean the bike.
The bike is filthy.
It is, but it's white as well, so it really shows up. Yeah, clean ourselves off and plan our next trip. Where should we go next?
How about the Lake District?
That sounds perfect. So thanks for coming along with us on our first Goldwing tour, everybody. We appreciate you watching. If you've got any comments, do leave them below.
Don't be too abusive about my riding.
Or me losing my gloves.
We'd love to know what your thoughts on this tour. If you have any suggestions for our next tour, what things we could do better, please let us know.
So we'll see you next time, folks. This is Jonathan and Sarah signing off.
Bye.
Bye.